I hope everybody is doing as great as I am this evening. Shout out to y'all and make sure that you guys hit the like button on the way in. Guys, we have a lot to discuss this evening. There was a whole lot of stuff that came out today about Lagena Gold. Her sister, her actual sister, came on to Hear Her TV. So make sure that you guys go over and subscribe to Hear Her TV. I am going to put a link to the video in my description box so that you guys can hear the full video. Okay, there was a lot that came out. There was a lot of information that the sister talked about and that the aunt also talked about. So I will be going over that point for point, okay, and a lot of information that did actually come out. I also watched the unfortunate video of Lagena Gold on Street Life Productions or Real Life Productions. And that was just ridiculous. So I am going to be getting deep into that as well. Also, child, there was some hot tea that came out from the Secktah over there in the tea sector today. Okay, a big explosion came out on Hear Her TV. I am going to talk about that. And we are also going to talk about the sentence that was handed down to R. Kelly today, okay? Which, you know, is crazy because this girl is talking about this is her dad, okay? So we are definitely going to get into the tea tonight. Also, because this morning I wasn't able to get into a mindfulness moment, I am going to get into that tonight. So we are going to get into all of this hot tea. Again, make sure that you guys do sit back and relax. Go ahead and roll up a L or do whatever you're going to do because we are about to get into the show, okay? And guys, just go ahead and sit back and I will be right back with y'all.
It's Block Lounge Entertainment and the time is right with T-Pre.
All right, guys. So this evening we're going to talk about mindfulness techniques for anger, okay? Now, a lot of us, including myself, okay, do actually experience anger from time to time. And there are some specific techniques that we can use that will actually help us with these things, okay? So we're going to talk about some of this stuff tonight and get a little bit more in depth on how to use these techniques and when is the best times to use these techniques as well, okay? So mindfulness techniques can also discharge acute or chronic anger. And as one of our strongest emotions, anger can be very hard to view objectively and also to diffuse. All right. And that's with different people with different situations. So mindfulness helps to create space between stimulus and an immediate impulsive response. Okay. And here are some of the practices that we can use to go ahead and deal with such behavior. So first, you can sit in a comfortable position with your eyes closed and notice the places where your body is touching the floor, cushion, or chair. So you want to pay attention completely to your body at the moment, right? While you're sitting comfortably in this space with your eyes closed, okay? So you want to completely notice each part of your body. So if your toes are touching the ground, you want to notice that. If your hands are folded, you want to notice that, okay? So you also want to draw in a few deep breaths and completely filling your lungs and then quickly exhaling, okay? I think everybody kind of knows that technique. So that is something that you can try. And you can do that in boxes, the box breathing technique, which is something I talked about yesterday. Also, you can think back to a time that you recently experienced anger, like preferably a mild or quickly addressed episode. You don't want to get into something real major, but you definitely want to get into something that you've experienced, right? And then allow yourself to experience that anger that you felt at that moment. So you want to get in the moment and feel the feeling and feel the moment at that moment. You also, at the time, want to disregard any other feelings that come up with this memory. And that would include guilt or any kind of sadness that comes up at the same time. So you want to go ahead and start like purposely disregarding those emotions. Then you want to turn your attention to how you're experiencing your anger in your body. Okay. So you want to notice whether any parts of your body are manifesting any sensations like warmth or cold, any intensity of these reactions, and whether they change as you observe them or move throughout your body, right? So, what are you feeling while you're angry? Are you starting to sweat? Are you starting to get excited? Like, what is happening when that is happening? You want to bring compassion to that anger, okay? So, this can actually be a very difficult step, but you want to remind yourself that anger is a natural human emotion that affects all of us at one point or another, okay? And it is okay for you to feel what you are feeling. Then you want to try to hold your anger like almost like a mother holding a newborn baby, with love and with understanding. You then want to turn around and say goodbye to that anger. You want to gradually bring your attention back to your breathing. Bring it back to your breath and rest for a while there while your emotions have subsided or started to settle down. And then finally, you can reflect on the experience and notice the sensations that this exercise had brought up in your body. Notice if they've changed throughout that process. You want to take note of whether you've applied compassion to your anger, and if so, how did you do that? What in particular did you use? And then you want to think about what happened to the anger when you showed it compassion, okay? Like when you stepped in and began to love, okay? So this exercise can be repeated many, many times as necessary. It's recommended that you work your way up from milder experiences of anger to more intense and more memorable episodes, okay? You can practice this technique, and this can help you diffuse chronic anger rather than, have some counterintuitive situation going on. And by accepting and mindfully feeling your anger, you can then take control of your experiences as well as compassionately address those experiences. And that is our mindfulness moment for today. So now we're going to go ahead and get into this R. Kelly sentencing, okay? So guys, R. Kelly does in fact avoid a lengthy sentence to his prison sentencing. So I know that we had talked about earlier that he was looking at possibly life sentence beyond life sentence, but the judge actually ruled that he can actually serve concurrently. So the R&B singer was given 1 additional year of prison time for the child P and the enticement of minors. Okay. So a U.S. District Court sentenced Kelly to 20 years in prison for charges of child P and enticement of minors. But the U.S. District Judge, Harry Leinweber, announced on Thursday that Kelly could serve most of his new prison term at the same time as his previous prison sentence of 30 years, which was handed down last year for racketeering and sex trafficking convictions. Okay. So it looks like the result is that Kelly will only serve 1 additional year of prison time, avoiding that lengthier sentence staying behind bars, had the judge actually agreed to the prosecutor's request that the 2 sentences be served back to back, which is what they wanted to do. And I know I explained that earlier. So the government prosecutors had pushed for the new sentence to begin only after the 56-year-old Kelly had completed the previous 30-year sentence. So they wanted this man to be in his 80s and then go ahead and do another 20 or 30 years of prison after that. Like, that's what they wanted him to do. They cited his lack of remorse, quote unquote, and crimes against children, which again, I am not going to deny that he has not committed some serious and heinous crimes against children. So they acknowledged that doing so would nearly guarantee that Kelly would spend the rest of his life in prison, which is what they were intending. So with Thursday's sentence, Kelly will serve a maximum of 31 years behind bars and become eligible for release around the age of 80 or so. So Kelly's lawyers had argued that the Grammy Award winner who suffers from diabetes was already facing what amounts to a life sentence. From the beginning, Leinweber said that he did not accept the prosecutor's argument that Kelly had fear that Kelly had used fear to woo these underage girls. The prosecutor's whole theory of grooming was sort of opposite of the fear of bodily harm, is what he said to the court. So he said it was the fear of lost love, lost affections. It just doesn't seem to me that it rises to the fear of bodily harm, and that is what the judge actually said. Now, two of Kelly's accusers actually asked for him to have a greater punishment, but that did not happen. Now, in June, Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison for 3 counts of producing child porn and 3 counts of enticing minors. Okay. During that trial, Kelly's lawyers argued that he should receive no more than a 10-year sentence due to circumstances that included severe, prolonged childhood abuse, poverty, and violence. So this is what his lawyers were saying. Now, before his sentencing in the trial, Kelly was also confronted by the victims, who also emotionally recounted the abuse that they had suffered. So that is what happened with R. Kelly today. It looks like he kind of got away a little bit here. He is not going to be doing 100 years. He won't be, in there until he's 100 years old. It looks like he is going to be eligible for release around 80-something years old. Now, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys think that is a harsh sentence? Do you guys think that this is normal? Do you think that this was okay? I personally don't think it's too harsh of a sentence. More than likely, he may in fact get out even prior to that. He does currently have diabetes and some other health issues. So they may very well let him out prior to, him turning 80 years old, but they're going to let him get up in age, pretty up there before they do anything, I'm pretty sure. And also, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that anybody else is going to end up sentenced or end up on trial behind what happened with R. Kelly? Because I personally don't. I don't think anybody else. I think they're going to try to sweep him away and leave that whole situation like it was and just try to act like, nothing is going on. But y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think, okay? Stephanie Collins, I truly appreciate you for becoming a new member. Shout out to you. And Ms. Murph, shout out to you as well. You said, hey, Miss T. Pre in chat. I appreciate you being in the building. Hey, Money to Burn, I appreciate you. One of my favorite loungers being in the building. Shout out to you and moderator. You said, hey, Black Lounge Divine and loungers. Hello, Miss Murph. And you said, hey, to Money to Burn. Hey, Keisha Cassels, I appreciate you coming in the building. You said hello to everyone. Everyone, make sure that they are hitting the like button on the way in. I see a few of you have now come into the building. Make sure that you guys are subscribed as well. And make sure that you share out the show so everybody knows that we are talking over here in the lounge, y'all. Because we got a lot to get into tonight on the night ride. All right. And Stephanie, I appreciate you being in the building today. You said, good evening, Keisha Cassels. And you said, hey to Keisha. You said, let him rot. Okay, girl. That's what I was kind of thinking. You know what I'm saying? You said it's a par with others sentenced for the same charges. Yeah. How about that? And that's the thing. I don't know. Oh, you said it's on par with others sentenced for the same charges. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You would know this since you're an attorney, but and you're into that kind of stuff. But to me, I don't know, man. You said that sentence sounds fair to me, but he most certainly shouldn't be let out due to health conditions. Absolutely not. I agree with that too. But sometimes they do that, after they get much older, right? I think he'll be close to 80 before they even think about it, though. You said, good evening, Black Lounge Divine. Good evening, Steph. And you said, money to burn, money. You said, Steph Collins. All right, guys. So listen, let's go ahead and get into this. You know what? I'm gonna get into this Secktah topic here, y'all. I'm gonna even play the Secktah Bombshell song for us real quick because, honey, this tea was hot, okay? And I'm actually gonna play it. It was on Hear Her TV. I am going to put a link to it in my description box. But Chow. The heat came out today, okay? It was really some explosions happening over there. And we are going to get into this real quick just to talk about this because I thought this was crazy. I happen to know both of these content creators, okay? And I happen to like both of these content creators. But child, Child, this was crazy. Okay, so we're going to get into this. Now, listen, child, I know there's a lot of people over here that watch me that also watch a lot of content creators over there in the tea sector. Okay. So we got to talk about what happened with Danny Robinson today. Stephanie Collins, you know what I'm about to talk about. We got to talk about what happened with Danny Robinson today and with Hear Her TV. Okay. Now, shout out to Hear Her TV. Shout out to Danny Robinson. I ain't got no beef with either one of them, okay? I do, however, remember Danny Robertson, Robot Danny. I remember her from back during the whole All About the Tea thing. And Danny was the one that came down on Nosy Ho. She had a lot to do with why Nosy Ho wasn't fucking around on YouTube no more for a little bit, okay? Danny was the one that was slaying out this bitch, okay? And I was disagreeing with a few things with Danny. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of stuff that Danny would say that I would disagree with. I got a couple videos about it. It is what it is, okay? But we're going to go ahead and keep it moving because that, you know, she redeemed herself. Now she's actually out here. She's actually speaking. There's no longer any robotic voice, you know, and all that stuff. So, you know, it is what it is. There's some things that she talks about that I agree with, some things I disagree with, right? But this particular ish here was crazy. And we're going to go ahead and play what came out today. And this is funny how it came out because it came out from Lagina's sister, okay? Lagina's actual sister hit the panel today on Hear Her TV. And she gave us a lot of tea, okay? And one of the things that she spilled was an email that she got from Danny Robertson. And I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys now, okay? And again, this is on Hear Her TV. So let me go ahead and remove my banner so that you guys can see this as well. Let me first share my screen. Bear with me just a moment, guys. And again, make sure that you guys do hit the like button on the way in. Make sure that you guys are subscribed and sharing the show as well. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and remove the banner so that you guys can see where I'm talking about. And let me also remove the comment as well. He says, Danny stays emailing people. That's why I don't F with her. Child, Danny is messy, girl. Danny is messy. I got you money to burn. I got you, honey. You got to come in and listen to the tea sector with us, okay? And I'm going to keep y'all more informed on what be going on over there because I be over there all the time. All right, so listen. Let's go ahead and listen to, and again, I want you guys to go over to Hear Her TV, okay? And she is at 4,009 subscribers. So she is doing excellent over here. Make sure that you guys do hit the subscribe. Make sure that you also hit the bell and make sure that you share the show as well and hit the like button, okay? So Hear Her TV is where you want to go and subscribe. And she had a bombshell show today, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and play for that for you guys. I'm not going to play the full video, of course, but again, I am going to play under fair use. So let me pull up my fair use banner first. I'm going to play only parts of the show. I'm not going to play most, but this is under the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which is the allowance made for fair use for the purpose of criticism, commentary, and all that good ish, okay? So let's go ahead and get up in this good tea here, all right? Because, baby, The sister drops some bombshells, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and play what the sister was saying. I'm going to, again, this is fair use, so bear with me just a moment.
They saying that Dominique sound like Angela.
Hold on, guys.
You know you done fucked up.
Girl, I ain't never hear her TV go off like this.
I'd avoid that channel, to be honest.
All right, so.
Oh, okay. Are you the one that's emailing me?
I didn't email you.
All right, so this is the part where she asked her, this is the sister of Lagena Gold, okay? She comes up on the panel, and because at first the aunt was on the panel, okay, which we'll get into in just a few moments, but the aunt was on the panel at first, okay, of Lagena Gold. She explained how she's related to Lagena. And then once she got more information from people that were in the chat as well as Hear Her TV, that is when she started contacting family members, okay? And the family members started calling in. They started hitting up the chat. They were coming on the panel. There's a couple of members of the family that came on the panel, and we are going to get into all of this. But this is the sister that came on the panel. This is her name is hold on, I'm going to look it up, guys. Dominic, and her name is Dominic De Jesus, okay? That is her half-sister, which is they have the same mother, but they have a different father, okay? So Lagena has the Nan father, and this girl has the De Jesus father, okay? But their mother, Zima, which is short for Dominique Franklin, is their mother, okay? So we're going to get into this now, and you just guys, you're going to hear this bombshell that this chick drops, okay? Real quick. So one moment.
Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
I'm getting
somebody emailed you. What was the name on the email?
Facebook request and other things. It's kind of annoying. Like,
what's the email?
This one is from Danielle Robertson.
Oh gosh. What did she say?
Right now it says, do you know that Hear Her TV was arrested for biting her mother in domestic violence and CPS are involved, etc. because she is a minor child. I'd avoid that channel. Is this the channel?
Yeah.
Oh.
Continue. Carry on, Zanny. Carry on.
Carry on, darling. Carry on.
To be honest, I'm not with her. I'm a different person.
Daddy, you funny as hell. Wow.
Wow. I'm telling y'all, I was sitting there in the show live listening to this shit. I had to rewind that shit to hear it again. Like, I know Danny ain't out here doing the most like this. Come on, sis. There's room out here for all of us, okay? Why you got to be stepping on this chick toes like that? But that's the kind of stuff that happens in the T sector. And it ain't just the T sector. It's various places out here on YouTube. But child, she thought she was going to get the exclusive, okay, and hit up the family and told them, girl, don't be going over there to Hear Her TV. She done did this. She done did that. She been arrested for this and did this, girl. And this girl, Dominique, she doesn't know any of these content creators. She's not in the YouTube world. She don't care about this social media stuff. According to y'all, you guys will hear, kind of what was happening during the story. But she does not care about any of this YouTube stuff. She doesn't care about any of these content creators. So she don't have a dog in this fight, right? So all she did was just read the email and what the email said. You know what I mean? She didn't even know that this channel was the channel that she was supposed to be allegedly avoiding. That's how funny and how bombshell that shit was. But child, that is their thing. And I ain't got nothing to do with that. But girl, that's how messy them sisters and them girls get over there. Okay, but yeah. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get right into the rest of this commentary because there was so much that went on during that situation. But before I get into that, I also want to talk about what's her name? Lagina. I want to talk about her commentary on Real Life Street Productions, okay? Because I thought that was just so nonsensical. It was crazy, all right? It was just ridiculous, the stuff that was being talked about on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at that, and we're going to get into a little bit of what she was talking about. I have specific parts of that video that I want to actually talk about. And then we're going to go ahead and get right into what we're going to get back into what happened on Hear Her TV. Okay, so again, I'm going to play this under the fair use banner as well, which allows for commentary and criticism under the Copyright Act of 1976. Okay, and again, make sure that you guys are hitting the like button on your way in. And you said they are all messy. Child. You said, please don't tell me there is yet another CPS element in that storyline. Girl, listen. If y'all, I'm telling y'all, in this sector over here, this little sector, the stuff that goes on over here is so minute compared to what happens in other sectors. It's not even funny. Okay. Like some of this stuff, y'all would be afraid to be fucking around with some of these people. Okay. For real. Okay. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this real quick because and then we'll go back to the other video because there was a lot of stuff that was in that video that I want to go over. And I'm not going to go over that video point for point. I just have my points and my notes on what happened in that conversation. And we're going to go over those particular points. But let's start with this video first. Again, let me remove the banner so that you guys can see which video I'm talking about, which is from Real Life Street Productions. Make sure that you guys go over and make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. And make sure that you guys share as well, okay? This video was crazy, y'all. Again, this is Real Life Productions, okay? They have like 380,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to go over there, you can join. You could subscribe. Make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure that you also share that show as well, okay? This video was wild, y'all, okay? It really wasn't a lot more that she said, but I want y'all to pay attention to what she has on, okay? Let me make that a little bit bigger. I want y'all to kind of pay attention to what this girl is wearing, okay? Which I thought was crazy because all this money that they claimed they had raised for this girl, which, by the way, Jaguar admits in Hear Her TV's channel today that she raised over $7,000 in less than a week for this girl. And this is what the fuck they got on this child, okay? This is what the hell she wearing. Now, I ain't trying to, gossip and talk a bunch of shit and everything. But girl, all this money they claim they got, they couldn't do something better than this. They couldn't get this girl nails done, get her a professional hairdo. Like, what is going on? Where is all this money going that everybody allegedly is sending to Jaguar's Cash App? Okay. And she's claiming it's going to her. And we're going to get into that as well, because there was a conversation that came out from one of the family members that speaks otherwise to that. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit of this good tea. All right. And again, let me go ahead and put the banner back up so that we can stay on point here. All right, y'all. So I'm going to start at about 15 minutes because that is where I kind of want you guys to hear what Jaguar was saying. Okay. And again, shout out to Real Life Productions.
We have her here in Dallas. Yeah. We have her here by her own accord to even want to speak on this scenario. And she was able to do the Philadelphia podcast. Do you feel like her story is one of many based
Absolutely. on? I do not believe that she is special. I do not believe that she is a rare case. What I do believe is that she is the most important story because she is one of the shunned children of the entertainment industry. These niggas, they do all.
Now, first of all, Jag know, like we all know, that this is not Aaliyah's child. She knows this. She knows she's trying to do this to milk money out of the public. And again, we're going to get into that even deeper in just a few minutes once we get into Hear Her TV's video. But I'm telling you, Jag knows that this is not Aaliyah's daughter. She knows that. So this whole thing that she's playing into is absolutely horrendous and crazy.
All kinds of wild shit. And then they fuck up. And then they want to erase reality like it never happened.
Yeah.
And there are so many of these children, like Lagena Gold, who are victims and casualty of their brazen narcissistic.
As I'm in the midst of applying for residency right now, wish me luck, Grammarly has again been a lifesaver with my application and helping me write my personal
sociopathic ways. Her. Now you got the little LL Cool J baby. The what's his name? The Love Benji. Ain't your name Love too?
Yes.
Now, first of all, I done showed y'all this morning, okay? For those of y'all that missed it, I definitely showed the Love Benji Instagram, okay? I showed y'all that the shit he was talking about was a fucking parody, okay? It's not real. He was playing around. And as you can see from any other video he was doing, I mean, he was joking and playing and talking ish. That's all he was doing, okay? He was making fun of this chick with that video. And this chick is playing right into it. Like as if, yeah, this is real. And, you know, he's the long lost son of LL. I told y'all what LL's son looked like, okay? And that ain't him. Shit. And she's still playing that shit like it's real.
It's like now Diddy got the new Baby Love. Like, what is this? Some kind of underground sex trafficking railroad?
Wow.
Something going on.
Let me ask. When you saw a situation like where the Love Benji guy comes out saying, hey, LL fathered me, and you see there's a resemblance there. What are your thoughts when you see something like that? Because this happened after you came out publicly.
And I'm like, his name Love too? Like,
that's the first thing.
I'm like, that's kind of, it's not coincidental at all. And I believe his story. I believe they do things like this. They
said the magic word.
Mm-hmm.
The magic word he said was NDA. Do you know what NDA stands for?
Yes.
Nigga, don't ask. Let me go turn that off.
Right. A non-disclosure agreement for those who in the political world. So
it is a non-disclosure agreement.
Ask you then, for those that might say,
so what I really wanted, hold on, let me let them play this part out, and then we're gonna fast forward a little bit.
Lagena, you don't resemble R. Kelly, Aaliyah to a T.
Yeah.
What would you say to that as far as someone saying that, hey, you don't look like your dad, you don't look like your mother? You know, normally
I have two words, DNA and biology. So everybody don't look like their parents. Somebody look like their grandparents. Somebody look like their great-great-grandparents or the great auntie. That's how life is. And especially if you're in a Black community, you have different shades, different variety of Blackness. So.
Oh yeah.
Listen, that is very, very true. Okay, I have 6 children. Most of y'all know I have 6 children. I have a variety of shades in the family. Okay, but these niggas look alike. Okay, they still look like each other, right? They still look like me, right? They still look like their dad. They don't look like somebody else. Okay, like, I mean, they look like us, right? They look like our family members. Yes, all Black people don't look the fuck alike. We all know this already. Yes, we all different shades and colors and sizes and lengths and everything else, but literally family members have something similar about them, even if they are a different shade, right? So what the hell is this girl talking about? She don't look nothing like R. Kelly, nothing like his mom, nothing like Aaliyah, nothing like her family, like at all, sis, at all. You don't. And we're going to go ahead and move on a little bit forward with this because this was crazy.
And I don't know how much you know at this time, but even retrospectively looking back, what are your thoughts as far as just losing the world, losing Aaliyah, you losing Aaliyah, just everything that happened with that, and then of course us having to respond to the New York attacks right after?
The thing about it is, when I found out my mom died, it was through her the boat video. So that was already happened. And I didn't know until probably a year later. And for the Twin Towers, I kind of don't remember it actually either. So it was just a foggy history. I might be able to remember it through the hypnosis I'm going to be doing in Philadelphia. But
so I'm going to touch right back to that. Well, actually, let's talk about it now. So,
yeah,
Philadelphia TV Network, and I want to definitely shout out JAGUARWRIGHT, shout out Goomba.
Now, before they get into that, we're not going to just dance over the fact that she said that she doesn't remember what happened with 9/11, okay? Which is kind of unusual for a person her age, because that means she would have been in school at the time, okay? I remember 9/11 because I remember working and having to go home early that day. I remember having to pick the kids up from school that day, and so, or at least, and they were younger, like they were younger than this girl. So there was 3 of my children that were around at this time. And I had to pick all 3 of them up from school that day, but it was daycare that they got picked up from. So she would have been in 1st grade. She would have been like 6 years old at this time when Aaliyah passed away. And also when 9/11 happened. So at least when 9/11 happened, that was in September. So all of the children were back in school by September. So she should have been being picked up, rushed out of the school, going home with somebody that day. Everybody remembers that day, okay? Especially if you're on the East Coast or if you're closer to the East Coast, you remember that day, okay? So because everybody was getting picked up, everybody was going home. There wasn't a doubt in anybody's mind. My 2 oldest children, my oldest child, who is 26 now, she has vague memories of that day, very vague memories of that day. My sons don't. They don't remember that at all. But my youngest son, my middle son, he's 22 now. He was about 1 at the time, okay? So there's no way he would have remembered anything like that. But the other kids definitely remember that. So she should have been old enough not to know exactly what was going on, but she should remember something happening that particular day. And as many times as that day has been referenced over the years, that should be something that she definitely connects to the last time she saw her mom, or, connecting to her mother's death. That would definitely be that. I remember when Aaliyah died because I remember my mother told me about it. I remember where I was. I remember her telling me, and I remember me being devastated, right? And it was very close to September 11th. It was within a couple of weeks. So that Aaliyah had died, and then September 11th happened, okay? So that was a very distinct time, right? Even for me. And I know that I was an adult, but like I said, if this was her mother, okay? If this was her mom, she would distinctly remember when she never saw her mom again. And then for her to say that she didn't hear about her mom dying until a year later, I doubt it. I doubt it. Because Aaliyah's death was all over the news. It was everywhere. You could not miss her funeral procession. You couldn't miss her death. I remember there being like a white chariot or something like that. I'll look it up real quick. But I remember her funeral being something major. It was all over the news. Everybody knew about it. So even her alleged second family, right, that she's claiming is the people that raised her, they would have been watching that shit on the news. They would have been talking about this. This was a big deal around that time. So I'm having a very hard time believing that she just can't remember any of this and she doesn't know any of this and, all of this stuff. I'm having a very hard time with that. What's happening, Alan? I appreciate you being in the building. You said, what's up to Alan? You said, I watched it from my living room window. Yeah, because you up in New York, right? You in Brooklyn. So it was something that you definitely saw. You 100% remember. And nobody from the East Coast would forget that shit whatsoever. You're not going to forget that. Or not remember, right? Unless you're like 1-year-old, like my son was, right? You said exactly. You said that was the 4th day of school. Right, exactly. You said, yeah, I was definitely in the 9th grade on 9/11. Okay. Okay. You said very true. You said my daughter was in 1st grade and she remembers everything being scared. Child, and this is, see, so your daughter is probably around 27, 28 years old. And this is allegedly how old she is. Well, we know how old she is. She's definitely 28 years old, allegedly, according to the family. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes. But like you said, yeah. So she would have been in 1st grade on 9/11. So there's no way she wouldn't have. I remember everything about 1st grade. I remember who my teacher was. I remember this boy named Miguel getting his butt whooped by my teacher, right? Like, I remember everything in the 1st grade. That's how old I am, y'all. That's how old I am, where your teachers was beating your ass. My teachers ain't never beat my ass, but I remember this teacher smacking that boy with a ruler in the 1st grade. They can't nobody tell me nothing. I started wearing glasses in the 1st grade. All kinds of stuff happened in the 1st grade. I remember 1st grade like it was yesterday. There's no way something that traumatic would have happened in 1st grade and I wouldn't have remembered it. There's no way, especially if a parent passed away as well around that same time. There's no way I wouldn't have remembered that. But yeah, that was just off to me, the fact that she said that. You said Jag is telling Lagina she's possibly 30 years old. They don't know that. Girl, the family knows exactly how old she is. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. I call bullshit, okay? Bullshit. Hello. You said, yep, she passed away August 25th. And I know that because, like I said, this was in a couple weeks of 9/11, okay? Like, I remember being devastated over Aaliyah's death, and I remember being devastated over 9/11. I remember not being over Aaliyah's death when 9/11 came around, like all of that. Okay, so yeah, there's just no way that she doesn't remember that, especially if that is her mom. But we are going to continue with a little bit more of this stuff because I think she says something else at this point, and then I'm going to move on a little bit.
For what they're doing and, the stories they're bringing to light. Because again, a lot of people are able to speak up now on things that, they wouldn't speak up on before. Jaguar kind of opened up somewhat the floodgates of being able to tell your truth. Yeah. And that's all it is. Can no one tell you what your truth is except for you? I mean, whole lie, whole fabrication. My truth is my truth, and can't nobody tell me different because this is the way I see it. Yeah. You are willing and said openly that you're willing to go through a hypnosis process. Yes. Basically, a hypnosis process can not only unlock memories, but also, have you be able to speak on those memories while you're in the process. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been through a hypnosis process ever?
I remember a guy that I worked with as an online casino dealer. He was hypnotizing people, and so that was my first time seeing anything being hypnotized. Or I wasn't the one that been hypnotized, but maybe because I didn't trust him in that situation. But I've seen somebody literally been hypnotized, and he told her to do a lot of things, and I've seen it. So I'm like, that's kind of scary. Yeah. And that same person is actually in trouble by being intimate with certain people he hypnotized. And the casino world is small too. So I heard different stories from that same guy.
What the hell does this have to do with if you have been hypnotized? See, this is what I'm having an issue with Lagina, right? And it's probably now because now that I done heard from the family members, right? Now I'm really starting to look at Lagina a little bit different, not totally different, but just a little bit, just based off of what information came out today. But what I'm hearing is Jaguar. I'm hearing Jaguar Jr. I'm hearing somebody who's beating around the bush, who's not giving you a full answer, who's not, really coming forward with the proper answer or with something, that is regarding herself, but she's talking about all kinds of stuff that has nothing to do with her, okay? He asked her if she had ever been hypnotized, and she starts talking about some guy she know from online gambling at the casino when she was working there that, he was a hypnotizer and he took advantage of women sexually and all this. What does this have to do with you? Because what's it? She gonna say he didn't do this to her?
Or different people is talking about the same guy. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So, there was also, I want to speak to R. Kelly. Again, I know you haven't watched Surviving R. Kelly, but he is currently locked up for 30 years for trafficking underage girls.
Yep.
He, of course, had 3 different cases. One dropped, one convicted him of 30 years, the other's looking for 25 years. He's still here. What are your thoughts, as far as when you're going through that scenario?
My thoughts is for the female or the victims that he hurted. And as a human being, I'm on their side, because if somebody was to do that for somebody he cared about, then he should understand other people care about other people too. And wrong is wrong, regardless. And it hurts me as the young me, and to know, but not really the adult me. And I understand. It is, I still need to overwork my own trauma with that situation.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to really say on that matter as much.
I have to ask you then. I think you were able to speak with
hold on, let me first of all, I wanted y'all to see how emotionless she was when she was answering those questions. Let me show y'all again. And also, I want you guys to go over and watch the video. I'm going to put a link to the video in my description box, and you guys give me your comments on this video at the end. Just let me know what y'all think. This video kept skipping, and it wasn't that the audio was skipping. It was the actual video itself, like as if it was cuts and pieces from the actual video production, but the audio was separate from the video. Now that can happen. You can create an entire separate video and do the audio and put them together, right? You can do that in iMovie. You can do that in any of those types of softwares. And that's what it looks like happened here, okay? Because I'm going to play a little bit of it so you guys can kind of see for yourself. As a matter of fact, I'm going to rewind that little bit apart so you can kind of see her reactions, as well as how the video just seems to skip. And it's not me, it's not my internet or any of that.
It's me as the young me, and to know, but not really the adult me. And I understand. It is, I still need to overwork my own trauma with that situation.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to really say on that matter as much.
I have to ask you then. I think you were able to speak with Azriel Clary's father.
Yeah.
Just yesterday.
Yeah.
How was that coverage? I mean, do you know the story of Azriel Clary? She was one of the 2 who actually, even during his trial, was basically live-in. They were there still up until a certain point, but they were actually there fighting for him. They were on. He, of course, had 3 different cases. One dropped, one convicted him of 30 years, the other's looking for 25 years. He's still here. What are your thoughts, as far as when you're going through that scenario?
My thoughts is for the female or the victims that he hurted. And as a human being, I'm on their side, because if somebody was to do that for somebody he cared about, then he should understand other people care about other people too. And wrong is wrong, regardless. And it hurts me as the young me, and to know, but not really the adult me. And I understand. It is, I still need to overwork my own trauma with that situation.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard.
All right. So do y'all see her expressions and her reactions to these questions? If this was my father, right, I couldn't imagine me smirking and like kikiing over my dad being convicted of such a thing. Okay. And that is literally how she's kind of coming off. It's almost funny to her. It's not even like it's, she's even taking this kind of serious, right? Like this isn't even really a big deal. And then also what got me was, and I had to watch it on a couple different devices. I actually went outside and everything else and put it on the actual 5G and whatnot. I wanted to see, like, if it was my device, if it was the Wi-Fi, if it was the internet connection, why this shit kept skipping like that. Or is it that they're just cutting and pasting little pieces? Like, did she start laughing and they had to cut that out and put it back, and they just kept the audio going and didn't think anybody would pick that up? I'm picking up a whole bunch of cuts and production flaws here.
Hard to really be to say on that matter as much.
I have to ask you then, I think you were able to speak with Azriel Clary's father.
Yeah.
Just yesterday.
Yeah.
How was that conversation? I mean, do you know the story of Azriel Clary? She was one of the two who actually, even during his trial, was basically live-in. They were there still up until a certain point, but they were actually there fighting for him. They were on Gayle King, trying to defend his name, defend his honor. How was it talking to her father, and what are your thoughts on her? Because I believe she's way younger than you.
Yeah.
And she, of course, was, in a relationship with R. Kelly. What are your thoughts as far as talking to her father, and also what the situation she went through and probably is still going through?
For talking with him, I felt remorseful on behalf of my father as far as father and daughter love. And I still feel that way, that remorse for his victims, like I done it myself, even though I didn't. And also I stand at, my mom was a victim of him too. So I just see my mom and these many females or many people that he hurted. And far as seeing that I had to Google her, so to know that she still had his side, but it's a thing called the Stockholm syndrome. So I'm pretty sure that's where she probably got that admiration for him, from that Stockholm syndrome.
Right. What do you feel? Aaliyah's not here to speak for herself as far as what she was going through at that time. What are your thoughts as far as people in the music industry taking advantage of either people that's younger or less fortunate, with less money, with less power? What are your thoughts on that type of mechanism going on in the music industry, or just in the entertainment industry in general?
Weak people target weak people or strong people, and I don't get it from a human standpoint. I don't get it, and I see the wrong in it. And people like my father deserve to be locked up or punished for their crimes. It's certain things you don't do. It's certain things you should strive not to do. And because of that power, or the power they think that they have, they succumb to a lot of things that made them weak.
Does this sound rehearsed to y'all, or what? Look at this girl's reactions. There's no emotion other than like almost laughter. You know what I mean? Like, there's no feeling of, damn, this is crazy. This is my dad. This is icky. This is, for somebody who claims she has memories of him being her father, memories of him coming around. Like, why is she reacting like this? Almost like this is a game. This is a joke, because we're going to find out whether it is or not to her. Okay. But let's go ahead and move forward a little bit. I got a little bit more going with this, and then we're going to get right into the other show.
Where do we stop? And these people need help. And I resent her for doing that to him. And also I resent him to doing that to other people. So
speaking of help, do you feel like even having this knowledge and these thoughts that, that you needed any type of therapy, any type of, psychosomatic treatment or anything like that? Like, how has that been going for you?
I already reached out to a therapist before I got hospitalized. So I was already on the process of healing my own self, talking to my therapist. I told my doctor I needed anxiety pills, and because I had a panic attack like 2 years ago. Oh, wow. So,
you know what caused that panic attack? Do you know what it was about? I mean, I know you don't really panic attacks come from anywhere, but do you kind of feel where that was coming from?
I was by myself, and I was like, I felt like I lost something. and it was a secret I need to know. So I was asking the people around me, and then they was all being very suspicious. They was acting very sus. And I'm like, so it just kind of made me more nervous. And then something happened to me in Cleveland. And when I wanted to move out to Cleveland, so it was a lot of situation there too. Like I felt like I was getting forced to stay in Detroit and forced in. So it kind of made me get a panic attack.
What she's sounding like is like everything she's saying is almost rehearsed. Like somebody is telling her to say these things, okay? Because she's never mentioned any of this stuff before until she got to Philadelphia.
Wow.
Something else. And it probably can be able to come forth with the by the hip.
Me too. Hey,
hypnosis.
I am human.
Yep, hypnosis.
Hey, I am human. Me as well. And I'm going to get back to your comment on that in just a second because I am very disappointed in this too.
Thank you.
So I'm curious. You said you had got clinical help before, like you've been hospitalized?
No.
Okay, so
that was my first time ever.
Wow. So how was that for you as far as how the doctors treat you? How, like, do they reality check? I mean, how did man?
So before she gets into that, I don't want to dance over the fact that she said she had a panic attack a couple years ago. Okay. And that this panic attack, and hold on, let me take this off the screen real quick so you guys can kind of see this girl's face. Because like I said, body language speaks a lot. And I just really think it's important to kind of see how she's reacting to all this stuff too. Okay. So either way, she's saying, that she had this panic attack allegedly a couple years ago. And, she just has all these fantastical stories about why she was having this panic attack, right? Like how it was like this conspiracy of people that were trying to keep her in Detroit and they were trying not to let her go. And I mean, these would be things that don't make sense to somebody like you and me because, a bitch like me can get up whenever the fuck I want to and go wherever the fuck I want to go, right? Now, yes, granted, I still have a minor son. I can take his ass with me, or he can go and stay with one of his brothers and sisters or his pops, and then we could keep it moving, right? Like, that's just pretty much how this goes. So I'm grown. I can move and go wherever the hell I want to go. Ain't nobody going to make me stay nowhere, okay? So in her mind, she's thinking all these, like I said, conspiracies that somebody's holding her hostage, somebody's holding her here, which is all tying into what it sounds like she said to us she has, okay? And we'll get into that in just a few moments. But let's go ahead and finish up with this. We don't have much left on this video, so let me go ahead and get to the point of where we want to get to with this.
They strapped me up. Well, the police came to my house. It was like 8 officers all together, 2 to 3 EMS people, workers. So they all came for me, and then they strapped me up. And I'm like, I'm not even harmed. People looking at me like I'm dangerous.
Yeah, like, to be honest, were you doing something that would be conceived as dangerous, you feel?
Well, I was resisting the cops.
Before that, though, before the cops even got there.
No.
So 8 of them pulled up.
So 8 cops pull up to your house and they take you for no reason? Why did they pull up to your house to begin with? And we are going to get into why they pulled up to her house.
Yeah.
To restrain you, I guess you could say.
Yeah, 5 of them was in my home, 3 was outside. It was
who was all there? Like, who called the people on you? Like, who was
the second family, the De Jesus. It was Zamanique De Jesus.
Now remember, Zamanique De Jesus is her sister, the one that dropped the bomb about Danny Robertson, right? That is Dominique De Jesus. That is her blood sister. They have the same mom, okay? Zamanique Franklin. That is their mother, who is alive, by the way. They call her Zama in the streets, okay? But her name is Zamanique Franklin, all right? And that is her mother, Angela's mother, or Lagina, right? And Zamanique's mother as well, okay? And she has some other children as well. And we're going to get into some really interesting stories about this family and the dynamics of this family and who's who and kind of how Lagina is getting some of these stories that she's jumbling together and making her own. So let's go ahead and get into this.
Junior, she's that name after her mother. And then Shaquita de Jesus, they came. I gave Dominique a key because she gave me a key of her house when we were still speaking terms. The other sister, her sister, I didn't see her for a year because we fell out because she liked to hold my things from me. And so she came on the 5th. I went viral on.
Now, just to let y'all know, the aunt on Hear Her TV verified and confirmed all of these names. And one of them actually got on the panel. The other one didn't get on the panel, but her daughter, the aunt's daughter, got on the panel as well. And she spilled a lot of tea. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into all of this stuff.
On the, I believe, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of February. And then the 5th of February, they came to my place with a police officer. And then they said they couldn't do nothing. And then I have a video if you look at my my Instagram or Facebook. And
I love Montana.
No, that's not Carry On.
Ruin them.
That is Street Life Productions. Real Life Street Productions.
Signing this is a declaration of war.
Come on, guys.
We're already at war.
All right.
And you see them two ladies outside
hold on.
trying to make it seem like I was.
That's Real Life Street Productions and Real Life Street Stars. So they're not, they have nothing to do with Carry On Franklin, but Carry On is allegedly on the list of people that they're supposed to be hanging out with too. So we'll go ahead and get into that when that comes around, because I'm sure that's going to be a fiasco.
I was going to kill myself. And I'm like, I'm not suicidal. You don't got to worry about nothing. I don't want you here though. So you got to leave.
Wow.
And then by the 6th day, by the February 6th, which is the next day, they came back again. She opened the door. I was about to take a shower. So I was almost naked all the way. And 5 officers came in my house and they handcuffed me and had to dress me and take me outside.
Do you feel this would have happened if you did not say what you said and come out? Do you?
No.
Wow.
No.
Oh man, that's why it's like.
I said I've been saying this since like August, and I've been saying that they had handlers for like 2 years prior to them. I went viral on the.
It hit the right ears.
Yeah, the right ears. Yep.
How was that for you going viral? Again, you hit the shade room and everything. How was that seeing that your face and you're everywhere? Did you expect that one? And how was it seeing yourself like with technically millions of views everywhere where people are looking at your story?
So I went to the hospital. So they I seen that I was getting traction and I'm like, good, as long as whether it was negative comments, I need people to see me just because in fact, I feel like they was going to hurry up and try to stop me. So I needed people's eyes on me. And in case they did take me, y'all know who it is.
Right.
And I'm not the first one.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Okay.
So again,
let's go over some of those points. So she says that she went viral on the 2nd, the 3rd, or the 4th, right? She said by the 5th is when her sister came, her 2 sisters came and tried to commit her, okay, and tried to get her, to go. She refused to go, but she was still online and still, telling everybody in the world that she is Aaliyah's daughter, right? And they know that she's not Aaliyah's daughter, so they're coming over because they know something is wrong, okay? There's some particular things that the sister had said that confirms all of this stuff. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But I just wanted you guys to remember some of these parts that Lagena is actually confirming, okay? That yes, on the 5th day, they came and they couldn't do anything. And then on the 6th day, when the cops came, they took her with her. And none of us, it makes sense to us that the cops would just come to your place and just take you unless you've committed a crime, right? Or you are under some kind of psychotic break and somebody has a guardianship or something over you that gives them the right to have you committed, okay, in some way, whether it's the state, the family, whatever. But something happened where they were able to take her with them, okay? First thing she said was she was resisting arrest. And they're like, well, what for? What were you being arrested for? She never answered that question. All she just did was skip over that say that she was about to get in the shower. Her sister used her key that she gave her to come in the door, and 5 cops came in after her. Whether it was 5 cops or not is questionable, right? But she's saying that that's what happened, and they took her with her. So those are the facts. That is what Lagena has definitely confirmed, and the sister talks about this as well on Hear Her TV. So we'll get more information on how it actually went down once we get over there. We've got one more part of this video, and then we're going to get right on over to that. One moment, guys. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please.
Living with him, pretty much.
Very coincidental. There's a coincidence.
All right, so let me go back a little bit.
Those pictures, do you have a lot of that? Like as far
Grew like body hairs older than most girls my age.
Definitely. So. Do you have young videos, pictures? Do you have a lot of that? Like as far as just old photographs or videos?
My second father, Nana, said he doesn't have any. I was living with him pretty much.
Very coincidental. There's a coincidence.
He doesn't have any, and I was living with him and not his baby mom, which is my grandpa's baby mom too. So it is.
Man, I'll say this, man. We've seen celebrities go through extensive measures to hide their children. I think Karl Malone was.
All right, so I'm going to stop right there because basically she confirms there that she was living with the guy Nanan, okay? But she claims that there was no photos of her, and that nobody has any photos of her. Yet there's multiple photos floating across the internet of her and her brother and others, in the household, other kids together. So what is she talking about? That there's no pictures of her. And this goes back to what I Am Human First says, right? He says, I'm frowning upon the host because y'all know better. Y'all know that's not Aaliyah's daughter, right? That's number one. Number two, y'all know that clearly there is some mental illness going on, untreated going on here, right? And you're just feeding into these delusions as if you don't know that this girl is not who she says she is, right? The better part of this, to me, would seem like they would be, instead of trying to fatten their pockets, trying to monetize off of all of this, it seems like they would be trying to get this girl back to her environment, to get her the assistance that she needs around the doctors that know her, right? Around the doctors that are familiar with her condition, instead of feeding into this nonsense and making this situation worse. Because what happens when this girl realizes that Aaliyah is not her mom? And the reason I'm saying it exactly like that is because it's not because I really honestly think per se that she believes that Aaliyah is her mother. I'm a little on the fence about it now. And the reason why is because, well, at first I really did believe that she thought that Aaliyah was her mom. And I don't think that that Aaliyah really is her mom. I just think that based off of her condition that she has admitted to us that she has, this is why she's experiencing, what she's experiencing, okay? And why she's saying what she's saying. She has told us that she has schizophrenia, okay? And so we're going to go over that just a little bit. But before I do, I'm going to play a quick timer for you guys so that we can take a quick break. Go ahead and get you guys some water, whatever you got to do. And we will be right back to the show. So, Moneyspring, you said, does she think Aaliyah is her mom, though? So, according to her, she says she does. I was on the fence about it because I know that she says that she has schizophrenia. Okay. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit because, I'm not going to get much into that because I am not a therapist. I am not a psychiatrist. I cannot diagnose anybody. But what I can say is that I know someone who does have schizophrenia. Okay. And in that person, I have seen specific things. I've also seen how family members have attempted to help that person while they were in a psychotic break. I've also seen how family members have attempted to help that person while that person was regular and on their meds and doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. So I'm going to talk about those things. But this person I know is a male, okay, that has it. But this girl being a female, it actually develops a little bit different in women, okay? So the symptoms of women with schizophrenia would be something to the effect of a flat effect, monotone, a monotonous voice, a dull expression, blunted emotional responses, not reacting strongly emotionally good to things. And women tend to develop schizophrenia between the ages in their late 20s, okay? So mid to late 20s is when a woman will develop the symptoms of schizophrenia, okay? It is uncommon for a child to be diagnosed with schizophrenia, and it is very rare for those older than age 45, okay? The symptoms of schizophrenia, and some would be delusions and hallucinations, okay? Disorganized thinking or speech, extremely disorganized or abnormal motor behavior, and negative symptoms. So some of the stuff that we were able to even see in this video alone with her was some of the disorganized thinking and disorganized speech, okay? The delusions would be her being Aaliyah's daughter, okay, and R. Kelly's daughter. These would be some serious delusions that she's having. So, and she says that she was in the hospital and she had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, okay? So if that is the case and a medical provider actually looked into her situation, evaluated her for a few days in the hospital and came to that conclusion, then I'm assuming based off of what she's presenting to the world and based off of what they've said that she has it, okay? And her sister also confirmed that she has it. Now, let's go ahead and get into that a little bit. Again, I'm not going to play Hear Her TV's video because I don't want to, I never asked her if I could, and I don't really want to do that, okay? You guys go over to her channel, make sure that you do subscribe and make sure that you do share the show. But I've got a lot of notes on everything that was talked about today on that video, okay? So let's get into that. Let me pull up all of this stuff and get right into all of the happenings that was going on over there because it was a lot, guys, okay? So as I said, Dominique Franklin is the mother of Lagena Gold, okay? And let me change this banner because, like I said, this is crazy what is going on over there, okay? And Nan is the father, okay? So it looks like Nan, his name is Nan Owosu, okay, is the father, okay? So Dominique de Jesus is the sister of Lagena Gold, okay? And she has a different father than Nan. Nan is not her dad. Her father's last name is de Jesus, okay? Now, Lagena often talks about this guy who had a baby with her mom and then also had a baby with somebody else, and it was all this other stuff. So the de Jesus family is kind of is like the one that's very dynamic, okay? They are the ones that have a brother who is married to a woman who called into the show today, okay? Or he has children with a woman who called into the show today. And then he also has children with someone else in the family, okay? So I don't know exactly who it is, but it's somebody else in the family that has children. But his brother has children. That's what it is. I'm sorry, I'm lying. He has a child allegedly with Dominique as well. And his brother has a child with Dominique, has a couple kids with Dominique, okay? So that is how this whole dynamic became a big deal, okay? And this is how all these children came about. And this is how Lagena is kind of mixing up some of these stories of who's related to who's who, and how's what, and everything else. Because all of them are even kind of confused about how they're sort of related, but most of them know. Like Dominique knows, for instance, that one of her sisters is also a cousin. Okay. She knows, but that's also her blood sister. So they're like sister cousins, meaning that their two fathers were sleeping with the same woman. Okay. That's basically what kind of happened, which is Zima. Okay. Or Dominique Franklin. Okay. Dominique Franklin is alive. She had a stroke, which does not allow her to speak. Okay. So therefore she hasn't been talking or anything because of that. She can write notes. She can, type on Facebook, but she doesn't really talk. Okay. But she allegedly was into drugs at one time, and she lost custody of all of her children. Okay. Including Lagina and her brother, Elijah, and then the other kids as well, including Dominique Jr. and the other kids as well. Okay. Most of them went to the grandmothers. So it was the DeJesus's grandmother, and it was also Dominique's mother. Okay. Her name is Shirley, I believe. She was also raising the kids. Okay. But at some point, one of the grandmothers just was not able to, which I believe it was Dominique's mother, was not able to keep up with the kids. So the kids ended up in the state. So Lagena and her brother did end up in the state at some point. She had been in foster care a few times over the years. Okay. Ultimately, the kids still also did come around the family, though. So the other grandmother would also bring the kids around to be around the other kids. Okay. So the DeJesus kids were able to hang out with the Owosu kids because the grandmother kind of kept the kids together. She would bring them to the house. They would be around to come see the kids and different things like that. And they may go back to the foster home or go wherever they were at. To make a long story short, one of the uncles had ended up leaving a house to the children because they were so displaced. Okay. And I don't know if that was the house that was on Weyburn Street. We can't figure that out. But we know that there was a house that was left to the kids. Okay. And they don't have access to that house now. I don't know where or why. Maybe the taxes weren't paid or whatever. But before he died, he did leave property to Lagena and her brother. The sister was able to confirm that Lagena had a very clear mind for many years. There was never an issue with anybody thinking that she had some kind of mental illness. They never thought she needed to be in the hospital, never questioned her behavior. So that's very funny because Lagena mentioned this whole panic attack, right, from a couple years ago. And none of the family is confirming any of this. They don't know what she's talking about. Okay. They're just saying like, yeah, she was acting normal. She was living a very normal life, very business oriented, very business minded. Okay. Until up to about August of last year. Actually, it was October is what the family is saying. Now, Lagena is saying that she started having these questions about Aaliyah and all this stuff around August. The sister says, and the other cousin says, who both got on the panel, they both said that, no, she started asking us questions about Aaliyah, like asking us if she was, did she, like she had asked her sister Dominique if she had seen their mother pregnant, with her. And she was like, I don't remember, we were little. So she didn't quite remember. I think she's a couple years older than her. So she didn't quite remember that, but she said, probably, I'm sure she was, but I know she was pregnant with you, but she didn't quite remember all of it because they were kids. So, that's when she started bringing up this whole thing about her being, Aaliyah's daughter. It just came out of nowhere. And then she said the same thing came up with the cousin said the same thing. It just out of nowhere, out of the blue. She was just asking all these questions to them as if she was really curious. So here her TV asked her sister if she really thinks that Aaliyah believes, that Lagena believes that Aaliyah is her mom. And she was very hesitant about answering that question. And then she was just like, I don't know. You know, she said, all I know is she hasn't been herself. She hasn't been acting the way that we know her to behave. We know her to act. And then she said a bombshell. She said, I petitioned the courts to get her into the hospital. Okay. So I thought that was very, very interesting, because that's when the crowd, or that's when the comment section, excuse me, guys, I had to take a drink of water. That's when the comment section started talking about and kind of pressing her about this petition, right? And they were asking her, well, where did this petition come from? Why did you petition the court, you know, and everything else? And that's when she got into this whole thing of her going viral. And, you know, she said at first, when she asked her about the whole Aaliyah thing and asked her about, you know, whether her mom was ever pregnant with her and all this other stuff, she said she didn't really, it wasn't like pressing to her, because she didn't understand. You know, it was bewildering to her. She didn't think it was a big deal because she hadn't heard about it on Facebook, right? Or on YouTube or anything. She just literally heard her sister say this, and she thought it was off, but she didn't think it was so off that she needed to have her committed, right? Until she was talking about this online as if it was real. And then when they were coming to her and talking to her, like, what are you doing? What is going on? She's telling them, you guys aren't my family. I don't know who you guys are. And just kind of with all these delusions. And I'll tell you, with a family who does not understand the disorder of schizophrenia, and they're dealing with a family member who's dealing with schizophrenia, they have no idea how to even combat such an issue. They have no idea how to even come at such a situation, right? I really believe that this family, just based off of what I heard today, based off of everything that I'm hearing them say, and I hear the brokenness in them and what they're experiencing behind this situation, I honestly believe the first thing they need is education on this disorder, because I think they're not educated on how this disorder works and how a person who has this disorder will behave, okay? That is very important for the family who is around them and who is surrounding those people to know exactly what's going on. That is probably the biggest line of defense, right, in regards to the situation. If they're not aware of what's happening and how to combat it and what to do, they're not going to treat this situation correctly, which is a lot of stuff that we were hearing. And thank goodness for some of the people that were there in the chat. And there was another lady, I don't know her name. As soon as I find her, I'm going to give her accolades, because she's there in Texas. And she said that she is willing to reach out when when we can get Lagena home. Okay, finally. You know, she would be a safe haven for her to go to, you know, and at least get her started. We do have, allegedly, according to what the family was doing today on Hear Her TV, it looks like they are moving forward with contacting the authorities as well. There was, like I said, the lady who is in Texas has been doing a lot of footwork on this. She has contacted family services, adult services for adults with disabilities. She's contacted them. She's let them know about her having the schizophrenia. She let them know about the guns that are being shown on video. She let them, you know, that Jaguar also says she has a condition and that she's taken lithium. She said the cops called her back within 15 minutes and they took a report, and they are going out and they are investigating this matter. They are not excited and happy about this. Also, she talked about Jag having some run-ins with some drug dealers down there in Dallas, allegedly. Okay, this is all alleged, but that she has some run-ins with some drug dealers and that she can't even be around in Dallas like that. Okay, and if she comes around certain areas, there's a problem. And she said that she definitely confirmed that by being on a panel with Jag the other day and asking her specifically about those things. And Jag kind of danced around the answer. So I believe her. Okay. Again, this is alleged. I can't confirm it. I can't deny it, but I definitely believe this woman. Okay. Because of the way that Jag is moving and the fact that she admits that she raised over $7,000 and she got this chick looking like this on this channel with her hair and this fake ass makeup. She didn't even get any real makeup for her face. Got all her blotches and stuff showing all through. Like, this is crazy. This is disgusting how she is exploiting this girl. Okay. So let's get back to the family a little bit, because they were not aware of how deep this situation is. The sisters were not aware. And the one sister that was online or that was on the panel, she was like really seemed almost nonchalant about the situation, right? And I can understand, because like I said, if you've been through a situation like this with family and you kind of understand what happens, it's not that you give up. It's just you become like, it becomes everyday life to you. It becomes normal. And you're just like, oh, well, I've done everything I can. I've tried everything I can. I've tried to commit her. I've tried to do everything. She blocked me. She, put me on the block list at the hospital, and all kinds of stuff. And that's what this girl did. On top of that, she's put a lot of accusations, right, recently on family members who are like, what are you talking about? All this trafficking stuff. And she's claiming this stuff that the family is vehemently denying, okay? Adamantly denying, okay? And she is just like, yeah, it's true. And they're like, no, she's lying. And this is why they have allegedly turned their backs. But they had to make them see and realize who this girl is with, okay? They did not know or care about JAGUARWRIGHT. They didn't know her. They didn't even know that was her real name. They didn't know anything. They had to show them Hear Her TV they had to and shout out to Let Me See Your Transcript, because she actually said this to them too. Make sure that you send the links, okay, to them so that they can see exactly what is going on. They sent the aunt a link, okay, and to JAGUARWRIGHT's channel. She looked at that, and Jag happened to be live at the moment. Jag on Instagram, right? The aunt and and her daughter, which is Lagina's cousin, just bust out crying, y'all. It hurt me so bad to hear them cry like that, like to hear the pain in their voice, like they did. When they started to plead with the public about it, you know what I mean? Like, please stop feeding this nonsense. Please stop telling us we're lying. There's thousands upon thousands of people hitting up them on Instagram, emailing them, texting them, trying to call their phones, showing up to places and all kinds of stuff over this bullshit. And none of this stuff is true. None of this stuff is true. And none of these people asked for this. And they are not online. They are not on the internet doing all this extra stuff on the internet. This is Lagina. And you've got these weirdos out here really causing real harm to these family members. These people are going to need some real counseling after this situation is over. There was one lady, the cousin, she was just really in pain and saying, we're trying to tell y'all what's really happening with my cousin. I just talked to her, right? I just talked to her a couple of weeks ago. She's, and then the other day she told me she don't want nothing to do with me. And she just starts crying out of the blue. She says she talked to Jag. She said Jag told her to kiss her ass or some crazy shit like that. And she said she cussed Jag out. And then she told Jag from the panel today, she told her how she felt. Jag was in the chat. I ended up having to go. I took my kids somewhere. So I ended up having to leave. But I left right after around that time when Jag was talking in the chat. But she was admitting that she took $7,000 from the public and clearly didn't put that in anything of that into this girl, except maybe $10 for this wig and $2 for that shirt. And she probably had the other shirt in the pants. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and finish up with some of these other notes that I've got here, because I've got some more stuff. So I told you guys about the petition. I told you guys about this casino online dealer. I think she talked about that. She said the sister says, oh, okay, so the aunt said something really interesting, which made me realize that a lot of family members clearly are not talking to one another, right? So, and she ended up admitting that a little bit later on down the line. So what she said was, see you guys, hold on. What she said was, okay, what she said was that she didn't know anything about her being evicted, right? Because they had said, well, was she evicted? And she, because she kept saying she just needs to come back home. She needs to come back home. And everybody was like, well, why would she come back home if she doesn't have anywhere to go? You know what I mean? Does she have anywhere to go? Is she going to be able to go back to her apartment? And then she's like, yeah, she has an apartment. She lives at that apartment. And they were like, well, wasn't she evicted? And she's like, not that I know of, no. So then they started asking her who Brianna was, right? Because Brianna was the girl that came on Hear Her TV and told them that she was the wife or the sister or the baby mother of Lagena Gold's twin brother, okay? And so, she was saying she was pregnant. She was about to have a baby any day. You know what I mean? So for this to be the aunt, and somebody who's over the family, it would seem like she would be very well aware of these children on the way, and Brianna and Elijah's baby mom and all this other stuff. And that's when she kind of admitted that, hey, I talk to them, but I barely see them. I don't get to see them as much as I used to when they were little. I've kept up with them over the years here and there. I keep up and say hi and speak and come around and stuff, but I don't see them all the time. So she ended up admitting that. So that's when, but she kind of went silent when they were asking her like relentlessly about Brianna, like, who is she, right? And is she real? Is this a real story? Because that kind of fits into this whole puzzle. Like, if Brianna is not even a real person and her story was a lie, then that just throws away the whole story of Lagena being evicted, right? But it would make sense if Lagena was evicted based off of the rest of the story and the rest of what the sister was corroborating, right? And everything else that was going on. It would make sense that she had gotten evicted. So she ended up coming back on the panel with her daughter. Her daughter gets on and, she was very emotional just about this situation, understandably so, considering that her and Lagena are very, very close, okay? But she was very hurt about the whole situation. The sister seemed extremely hurt too, but kind of nonchalant, and not because she feels nonchalant, but literally she said, I'm just over it. Like, y'all are not here with us. She didn't say that, but I'm feeling that. Y'all are not here with us while y'all got all these, these comments and these things to say and all these emotions and feelings about everything, while we are actually experiencing this stuff with this family member. We have to be up day and night with this person. We have to take them to the hospital. We got to give them this medication. We got to deal with these delusions. Y'all are not here dealing with that. And when you've got somebody who's dealing with that and they are an adult and they just feel like they don't want to take their meds, or they just feel like they don't want to go to the hospital, they don't have to. But it leaves the family member there just vulnerable to the emotions that go with that. Okay. And that is why at periods and points, family members will shut down and shut out. And that's literally what ended up happening in this situation. But I also think they are not fully aware of how this works, right? Because again, I don't think they knew the danger that she was in. The sister thought that Dominique thought that Lagena was in Philly. And they're like, nah, she in Dallas. Oh, and from what we know, she's in Louisiana now. Because allegedly they've moved on to Louisiana, y'all. Yeah. So yeah, that's what she's saying. And she's like, really? Like, she had no idea that her sister was there. And she's like, well, listen, she blocked me. I can't call her. She don't want me to call her. She told me not to call her. I'm not going to beat myself up calling her, killing my mind, killing my brain, trying to force her to talk to me, and she don't want to talk to me. She don't want to talk to me. She don't want to talk to me. When she calls me, she knows I'm here. And that's what she told her. And she said, I got to go. So she got off the panel, you know. She said what she had to say. She definitely confirmed that it was her that contacted the cops, and that she is the one that got a petition from the court to get her committed because she was going viral telling this fantastical story. That is literally what happened. She says they are not related to Aaliyah, R. Kelly, or any of them in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Never been around them, don't know them, none of that stuff. So she made that very, very clear. But she did make it clear that there was, in fact, childhood trauma, and she explained that trauma. She explained that, you know, there was trauma on multiple sides of the family, including the DeJesus side of the family, which is what Lagina is picking up. So there's a lot of stuff that did happen in the DeJesus side of the family that did not happen to Lagina or her brother, but Lagina and the other brother too, because there's a younger brother as well, who's like 26, okay? But Lagina and none of them, they didn't experience those things. But when she learned of those stories is when she started adding those stories to her fantastical stories now, okay? Which again, I think all has to do with her condition, okay, of schizophrenia. And like I said, that particular condition may develop in women typically beginning in their mid to late 20s, okay? So for her, she is right in that age frame of her to develop such an issue. And sometimes these issues are developed from environment. So if there was some kind of trauma that happened, something that happened like that, it would cause and can cause these types of conditions if it goes untreated and if it just goes without, you know, anybody giving any attention to it. And so that is basically what I believe has happened to Lagina in this situation. And it's pretty sad, you know, what went on with her and what she's experienced and what's going on with all of this. But yeah, I just think it's crazy. So let me go ahead and get into your comments here. I appreciate all of y'all who are in the building. You said, I'm officially confused. Okay, girl, I'm just saying. You said, me too. These are two different girls, same story, or are we on to a different story now? Oh, I'm sorry, we on to the same story. It's Lagina is the same girl, but I'm telling y'all about the half-sister who is Zamanique, which is her sister. You said, I understand my half-sister on my dad's side is also my third cousin on my mom's side. Messy, 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 okay? And there's a lot of families like that, you know? But she's not Aaliyah's daughter. That's just it. You say, hey, Uncle Al, what you gonna do about it? And the beautiful Bernice, sorry, I got a call. You said, so, sexy toy lady, is this the same R. Kelly Aaliyah daughter story? Yes, it is. It is. You said, I think so, Money, but we always knew we were sisters and cousins. Okay, so y'all knew that. And that's what Zamanique was saying too. She said they always knew that they were sisters and cousins. You know what I mean? It was just something that it was with her sisters. But Lagina is her sister through her mom. You know what I mean? But the other sister is also her sister through her mom. But her uncle slept with her mom. Okay. Yeah. So both of the men were sleeping with the mom. And apparently there was a lot of drug use going on at that time, allegedly. You said, child, this is way too confusing to me. I'm going to just sit and listen, child. You got to come on out here and get into tea because there's a lot going on out here, honey. It's way much more than this damn sector. You said, oh, Lord, they calling people now? This is serious, child. You said, is her family able to provide pictures of her as a child, a baby, to dispel the notions? Yes, they actually did. There's multiple pictures. I'll go and find some. I know Let Me See Your Transcript had showed some as well. But there's multiple pictures around of Lagina as a little girl. Sean Davy Way had shown some pictures as well. There was a couple people showing pictures of her. But yes, she most definitely has pictures out of her as a child. And they're all over the place. I think even AT2 had shown some pictures. But I'll try to gather some links to those. You said a lot of folks get brain damage mixing other dope with weed. The doctors diagnosed it as whatever is closest to what they know about. that then prescribes medication that pays them residual income. I guess I could agree to that to a certain degree. I also think that if you spend enough time with a doctor or with a psychiatrist, which is something we're not fully aware of, she may definitely get the proper diagnosis, right? But I think you have to spend enough time with that doctor or spend enough time with those physicians for them to get a full understanding of what your diagnosis is. And it could be a mixture of different things. And yes, I agree that sometimes they just hurry up and throw you on a medication real quick because it does pay them residual income. Absolutely. But I don't want to take away from the fact that schizophrenia is in fact a very, very real condition. Okay. And it is a condition that can have medication prescribed, and that medication does tend to work at times. Okay. So, you know, like I said, it's just a matter of getting with the proper physician, getting diagnosed properly, right? And doing what you got to do to get that under wraps. Also, there's diet. There's a lot of other things that go into all of this stuff, but schizophrenia itself is a real condition. It is a very, very real condition. And it's actually dangerous when people kind of downplay it. You know what I mean? For people who do have it, and they would downplay it themselves. Not that I'm saying you are, but that sometimes does happen. Shout out to Stephanie Collins. I definitely appreciate the super chat of $25. You said off topic and I apologize, but thank you for your live this morning. Awesome. No problem. I definitely appreciate you being there and checking it out. And I appreciate all of y'all for coming out for the night ride, guys. I did start the show early. I was going to start about 8 o'clock, but I started a little bit early because I wanted to end it around this time, okay? I definitely appreciate you guys always for coming out and catching the show. And for those that will catch the replay, I certainly appreciate you guys as well. Make sure that you do go over and subscribe to all of those channels. Make sure that you hit the like button on the way out of here, and make sure that you are sharing the show as well. Guys, I appreciate y'all coming out for the night ride, and I will talk to y'all later. And peace, guys. Thank you guys again for watching. And again, if you don't see me again this weekend, I will see you guys on Monday. Peace, guys.